talking to Jeremy Black, who's one of my colleagues at 3Cloud. And Jeremy, you and I met through the Power BI community here in the Portland area, through the Power BI user group.
Yes, several years ago.
Yeah, and you have showcased some very interesting demonstrations. You presented at user groups a few times. And what are the kinds of business challenges or just challenges in general that really get you going?
I really like trying to work with the customer and move them from kind of the old style of reporting where everything was in an Excel spreadsheet and it would be 100 columns wide.
Yeah.
Because nobody can consume that much information at once. And really trying to bring them into an interactive report design where the information starts aggregated, you get the big picture as quickly as possible, and then you drill down in the detail.
Okay. Sometimes easier said than done.
Yes.
So how do you move the needle? How do you teach an old dog new tricks and help business users kind of see the light and get from the Excel spreadsheet to the interactive report?
And it all depends on who the user is. If it's an analyst, they really are worried if they don't think they're going to get access to all the data possible. So it's really important that you provide the ability to do data exploration, even if you're developing high-level reports for the department managers or the VPs. So giving them that ability to drill down into that detail or go in and connect to the underlying data model to allow them to explore on their own and discover insights is important, as well as creating a nicely polished report with visuals.
Yeah. I think that after we've been through that cycle several times, it seems very natural.
Yes.
But there are a huge population of business users out there who haven't yet experienced that.
Yes.
And so what does that feel like when you introduce a business user to this new concept, this idea that you can be connected to a model and you can explore and you can start at a high level and drill down into detail? What's that like?
That to me is really the fun part, is spending the time up front to build a good data model that's really going to simplify, if you're talking about Power BI, simplify the DAX that you're going to have to deploy and give them that flexibility to do the data exploration. And once business users and analysts are able to see how quickly you can modify a report, they're sold. Because previously you would have to develop new specifications and wait weeks or months for a new report to be developed.
Right.
If you can talk to a business user, ask them what they would like to see, and do that real time for them, they immediately see the value of that.
Okay. Now you said something interesting. You said that there was the old model of the Excel spreadsheet that's 100 columns wide and there's a use case for that. I mean, the reason that users do that. Now, I learned earlier, just as we at the beginning of our gathering here at the Data Bus, that you're currently on a project where you're using some less than modern tools.
Yes.
And so you're currently using SQL Server integration services, SQL Server reporting services, which are tools that have been around for a long time, and a lot of us know and love these tools. So is there still a need for that kind of data manipulation and operational reporting?
Definitely. I mean, SSRS definitely has a place, and obviously Microsoft sees that with its integration with Power BI and paginated reporting. So being able to offer both of those alternatives and really understanding what the customer is looking for to determine which tool to apply. Because if you're given a new tool, most people will say, well, let's use that for everything.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not
we
always
sure see that a lot,
the right answer. So sometimes a report's going to make more sense to be an interactive Power BI report or dashboard. And other times you need that tabular data that's going to be delivered better through paginated reporting in most cases.
Okay. So how do you juxtapose paginated reports, i.e. SQL Server reporting services, alongside interactive reports created with Power BI? How do you use both of those tools with an audience to solve, the spectrum of business problems?
Oftentimes with the paginated report, it's a matter of needing to export that data usually back to Excel to do some further data manipulation. So sometimes that requires a process of vetting out the real requirements, finding out what are you doing with that data after you export it and do further manipulation. So sometimes you can apply a full reporting solution on top of that. Other times it's really just truly operational data. People want that tabular data to do some exploration, to do some sort of financial reporting, and in those cases you can deliver that. And you can even have reports where you start out with a interactive Power BI report, and if you want to move to the tabular data, you can jump over to those paginated reports.
Okay, through some kind of a drill through action or
Yes.
a link or something like that. Awesome.
Community is hugely important. It's the thing that's allowed me to learn, because my background hasn't been technical. I've worked in manufacturing, worked for government agencies, done project management, and for the last decade I've definitely been on the technology side working in data analytics. But the community being out there, being that resource, and everyone sharing information so freely is what really makes this an attractive field.
Many others have given presentations at user groups and have organized events. How do you contribute, and how do you help build the community as well?
I try really to offer, when I have a new project and I think I've worked on something that's interesting or unique, it's important to share that information, to give back to the community.
Okay.
Whether that be through a blog, through a short video recording, or speaking at a user group. So I haven't done as much of that as I'd like to, but it's something that as I work on more and more interesting projects, I feel the ability to share back to the community is available to me, and it not only helps the community, but it also helps yourself really solidify that knowledge.
We're going to find out how well these microphones work now that a train is passing us just about probably 150 feet away. We'll see how that goes. Well, I've been the recipient of several of your demonstrations and have learned a lot of very interesting things. So I appreciate that contribution. How do you offset the technical focus? What do you do for fun?
Well, before COVID, my wife and I would travel quite a bit. We've been taking a lot of very local vacations lately, and just like to take time to go see the world when we can again and explore this local area here in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay, well, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
So what, if you were free to travel and you could go anywhere and do anything you wanted to do, what would that be?
We're looking at planning our next trip, waiting for the Canadian border to open up. It sounds like we're not quite ready to reciprocate, but I know that's coming.
Right.
And we'd love to just take quick trips up to BC. And probably the next big trip, we might decide to go somewhere in Asia.
Okay, awesome. All right, I don't know if we'll be able to use this part of the recording with the train passing, but we're going to find out.
That's a long train.
Yeah, we get a lot of very long trains here since we're right between Portland and Seattle, and a lot of these trains go to Vancouver, BC as well. I guess that's how you can get to Canada. You can hop a train. I haven't seen as many Canadian rail